but it's time for Marvel in the 90s. And today we're talking about Weapon X from Barry Windsor-Smith. This was presented in Marvel Comics Presents number 72 through 84. In 8-page individual chapters, Marvel Comics Presents was a long-running Marvel anthology series that had 4 stories in each issue, and they had really fantastic runs in here. Notably, Weapon X by Barry Windsor-Smith. We had Gene Colan doing, Black Panther. I think it was Black Panther. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Was it? Maybe I'm misremembering, but it doesn't matter. This came out in 1991, went through into 1992, and y'all, this was a game changer. I did not read this as it came out, but I heard about it shortly after it came out, and when the first trade paperback started trickling out in the mid to late 90s, I definitely checked it out. Barry Windsor-Smith is a legendary artist in this industry, and this was the first time he got to write and illustrate a book, and he got to go back and reveal more about the origin of Wolverine. At this point, we had heard things about the Weapon X program, we had seen the animated series that was going on, but we never really got some of the intricacies of what was going on there. This introduces the professor, Dr. Cornelius, and of course the other woman. The artwork is amazing. It basically involves the Weapon X program finding Logan, just kind of out there drunk every night, working some kind of like security job or special forces job. They take him one night and they dump him into this tank and they bond adamantium to a skeleton. This is something that we have learned through many retcons that they had been attempting to do throughout the entire process of trying to create the next super soldier post Captain America. It doesn't get into that nuance. It just focuses in on the Wolverine adamantium stuff. They bond the adamantium to him. He keeps escaping over and over. The revelations of the claws, fantastic moments. The coloring. Barry Windsor-Smith also did the coloring, and for the time, the coloring is absolutely fantastic. There is an hour-long episode that Cartoonist Kayfabe, you had both Jim and Ed talking about this run. That was immensely satisfying. This is such a great book. Wolverine basically keeps escaping. He's an animal. He's in and out of consciousness. At some point, they eventually start trying to control him. That's where we get the whole like battery packs and the helmet type thing. Bruh, it's awesome. The artwork is intricate. The detail is absolutely astounding. The composition of the pages, there's that look right there of Weapon X with that familiar helmet. Oh my goodness, look at that. You don't see comic book art like that. And look at the coloring. Now, this is the scanned coloring that doesn't quite pop the way it does. It pops more. It's a little bit more garish than it would seem in the newsprint version. This is something that Ed and Jim were talking about on their look back at it. Oh my goodness, though. This book's amazing. 8-page vignettes that make up one, for the most part, cohesive story. It is a little bit experimental. It is not in your typical Marvel House style of writing, where it's not like, here's what's happening. Here's a clear, concise narrative. It actually has like this very cerebral, psychedelic, loose approach to it. Very Frank Miller, but even less structure than that. And the panel design is absolutely amazing. It ends basically with Wolverine escaping, killing the professor and everybody else. But there's a little bit of ambiguity to the ending of this book where, no, they're actually still alive, and he's just kind of repeating these same cycles, going over and over again, and it ends with him allegedly maybe killing the professor and the people behind Weapon X and escaping, but this leads and is picked up by Larry Hama and his Wolverine run, leading into the idea of memory implants, and we can't really necessarily trust what we know. Running through it again, look at the page composition. Look at the panels design. Absolutely fantastic work. Detailed, amazing anatomy, great layouts, amazing coloring. This is something that Ed and Jim were pointing out in their video. Being able to blend certain colors together that would be able to bleed into that newsprint material that would present these very nuanced shades of color that you don't typically see. In particular, things like magenta and stuff like that. But also the use of the backgrounds, how you look in the background here, how you have that like the computer panel, but it's just squares of light. This is something that you see in like Star Trek The Next Generation, but this looks a little bit more psychedelic, a little bit more Steranko Kirby influence. But the anatomy, like they were at one point they were talking about this panel, and they were like, not only does Barry Windsor-Smith need to prove to us that he knows perfect anatomy on a muscular forearm, but he knows the inside anatomy as well and the bone structure. Dude, this book is amazing. If you've never read Weapon X, it is one of the absolute best Wolverine stories of all time. In recent years, I have quoted Old Man Logan as being my favorite Wolverine story, but I'm definitely changing that right now. I have not revisited this book in a long time, but this is better. And it ends with this whole idea of what is an animal, what is nature, what is nurture, what is memory, who are we, and what is the perspective on certain things. And also, is this real? Is this real at all? You never know. And even if you don't know what's real, keep clawing at it, going at it, and eventually you're going to be bare-ass naked, going through the Arctic cold in Canada. That's what this book is about to me, and I give it 4.5. In the highest point of 4.5. The only thing is, I think the ending's a little bit too tricksy and unclear. Aside from that, it's a near perfect book. 4.5, you digs. What do you think about it? That's been Marvel in the 90s. So let's take a look at the chat, and here's my copies of it. I don't have the original issue, sadly. I would like to get them because I want to read it with the newsprint, but I did get this Marvel Omnibus, Wolverine Volume 1. And as you can see, there's a Marvel trading card in there, and I read Weapon X, which this presents Wolverine's story in chronological order. That's what we're going to be going through here for a while. So expect a lot of Wolverine material on Rockin Robbie Live. Great presentation. Super solid book. Got Steve McNiven right there doing his best Frank Miller. Love this. Just recently came back in print. Got to get Volume 2. Don't have Volume 2. So I want to know what y'all thought about that. I love the hell out of it. I read that. I think I still have my trade paperback in there. The one that was probably released in like 98 or something like that, maybe. Probably wrong on the year there, but I absolutely love it. And it reignited my fervor into... I haven't read Barry Windsor-Smith's Monsters yet, and I definitely got to do that.